Greetings. I have often said that the major competitor when it comes to human beings and his and forming human or establishing human relations and human relationships, his major competitor is the use of its drugs. Although there are those who which will maybe could beg to differ, that's fine. But the body itself is a chemical, and that the body itself is within itself is addicted to the chemicals that is in the body. We have fluid that's in the body. I'm no scientist or doctor or what have you, and how the body functions. You're dealing with genetics too as well. But when something outside of the natural chemical makeup comes in, it creates a chemical imbalance. So I think Chinka Diop said that you can once you throw off the environment or throw off the ecology of the environment, once intellectual aptitude for learning becomes difficult, which means how people relate with their surroundings. I realize that we're born in a condition, placed in a situation, surrounded by circumstances, consequently due to some previous activity that has taken place. So then we deal with now substance abuse. And we see the mineral or natural resources that this earth has provided for us. And we see the misuse of it and the abuse of it, which means the substance abuse. And then we also see how the misuse of it and the mentality and the thinking of others, where they would take a substance from the earth and package it and convert it into something out of its natural state of which it is to be used for, to offer some medicinal healing. But to add other, let's say, additives and preservatives in it, and create a concoction that the other chemicals are not mixing together, creates an explosion. But then also you're creating something that is monstrous, like you're creating a monster. But that has to come out of the mind of people for the misuse of it. And always learn that it's strange when people use their mental faculties and their physical abilities to put people at odds with one another. So it's strange. It's like we're using something or misusing the material of the substance, and we are abusing it, and then therefore selling that abuse to others. And And then the abuse of it becomes an addiction that you become dependent on. That drug becomes addiction that which you become dependent on. And then humans who are under some type of substance abuse, the wide spread of abuse becomes accepted. It becomes the norm. I mean, the norm becomes normal or whatever. It becomes accepted. So it becomes popular. It's almost like a trendsetter. But when you look at trends in the popular and that which is popular, and you can get into music or anything else, but when you get into that which is popular, then you have to look at the principles behind it. What's the principle which they stand on? Then we look at the principles. You got to look at the institutions that reinforces those or teaches that. And then we look at that teaches that. Then you have to look at the culture. You look at the culture, then it becomes like something that becomes customs, something that people have become accustomed to. Is the misuse of a substance, and people become addicted to that misuse of the substance, and they become dependent on it. That's either mentally or intellectually, socially, economically, politically, religiously, or otherwise. It becomes like mind altering, trying to find the best way to relate and live in this reality. And reality is association with real, and real has to do with royalty, and royalty really is how we treat each other, how we treat this environment in which we live. It is said that pleasure was established and created for our creative thinking. If I'm thinking, it's established for our creative thinking. But in that creative thinking, there must be some analyzing that is taking place. But the result of the pleasure and the creativeness of the thinking and be able to analyze the creative thinking when it comes to the pleasure, that what we must enjoy is what our hands have produced. And some people take pleasure in even being a sadist. Some people even take pleasure in inflicting harm, hurt, and danger. And some folks take pleasure in receiving that. Another form of substance abuse. So, as I make my case that we're suffering from SDLD, a social disorder learning disability, because once you throw off the ecology of the environment, once and sync the opposite, you throw the intellectual aptitude for learning becomes difficult, you see. And that's a major challenge. So I say that the major competitor is drugs. And we can see the pharmaceutical departments of some pharmaceutical departments or companies, they're benefiting from it. We look at in certain communities, you see how what that is doing to the people. You see how the the misuse of misuse of the money, and how we relate to one another based upon that. We put status above humanity. So it's in the thinking is in a mentality that humans have great ideas, but they have a problem with themselves. The major competitor is drugs. But yet, if there is an enemy is being unable to control our animal instincts. Yes. So we must take into consideration that an intelligent person is a thoughtful, kind, loving, caring, considerate person. And person is that through which sound is made, because before there is motion, there is sound. And may we, as humans, develop a sound mind. Until next time, talk to you.